see the early editions of the Sunday papers at central stations before you go home. I just thought it was a bit of fun. Thank you. It's called A Heavy Responsibility. Burdened by the supplements that largely I ignore, our Sunday morning paperboy can barely reach the door. And I'm ashamed, I must admit, on this a day of rest, the chances are I'll just flick through a third of them at best. They thud upon my doormat and I suffer pangs of guilt as I take in what's going on and watch the poor leg wilt. Beneath the heavy sections he continues on his way, bringing home the hidden truth of what the papers say. This must disrupt his schooling. It shouldn't be allowed. I'm sure he'll walk round all his life with head and shoulders bowed. It's not as if our neighbourhood's an isolated case. The scale of this ill treatment is a scandalous disgrace. But who should I be contacting to set the children free? The Press Complaints Commission or the NSPCC? Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, that poem actually has been on the website for some time. I'd like to read also a poem I wrote in autumn of last year. I was just thinking that 6 or 7 weeks' time, this is how things will be looking, because the poem's called September Garden. The petals of petunias that tremble with the breeze ignite the richest colours in a gentle oscillation of ruby and magenta, lilac and cerise, and the purest white that glories in the clear September sun. Amongst the shrubs and bushes, skittish sparrows burst with life, squalling from the silences that punctuate their humour, weighing down the bugbear that now has had its day, but provides the perfect cover for their chattered hide and seek. Summer seems reluctant to surrender to the dark, although the chance has gone for it to hit its mystic stream. But while it smiles benignly, a garden will respond. Though we know the truth of autumn, it appears at times as spring. The snowberry hangs bountifully, heavy on the branch, as signs of age begin to show on lazy busy lizzes. Penstemons hang coquettishly, drop their heads in hope. The now infrequent passing bee might not resist their charms. The leaves begin to churn, adding colour to the scene, as every living thing prepares for winter months ahead, and capturing the moment before it flits away, a robin rests and cocks its head to look me in the eye. Thank you very much. Right, my last poem, a bit of a longer one. This is a new poem, so we'll give it a go, I think. It's called How I Used to Smell When I Was Young. When I was young, I used to smell. Back when I dwelt in vestiges of infantile omnipotence, my senses fresh and keen. But then I know it wasn't just my youthfulness that made the only difference to fool me to imagining not the truth of how things were, but how they might have been. You know, this was real. I copped it in the high street, amongst the bundled evening rags and writhing eels, when broken biscuits were a treat, and shops smelled of the things they sold. Instead of deli counters, we had grocers, where freshly sliced and wired ham and cheese would sell themselves by their appetising smell, enticing valued customers to interact with white-coated, respected chaps and have a chat as well. Newspapers and magazines, blended with arrays of sweets, jars my memory with the richest pipe tobaccos and displays of dusty sherbet fountains shelved along with mint and chocolate creams. The oily engineering air of hardware shops where paper bags and coats were brown and everything was somewhere in a cardboard box amongst the cut that wafted in from out the back where timber racked had sawmill freshness unprepared. Olfactory sensations spread to greengrocers and florists too, stimulating earthiness, since flowers bunched together scent was almost overpowering, and noticeable too back then, the subtle tones I harvested of morning sipped potatoes amongst the fruit and veg. adjacent to these basic needs, the futuristic age that filled my vinyl nostrils with the electronic pong of wonder at the records and the televisions there, and tape recorders reel to reel that had the modern functions of fast forward and rewind, the feel of optimism and the whiff of electricity that magnetised my mind. Now, packaging technology has everything wrapped up, from coconuts to broccoli, from screws to ham and cheese, from magazines to flowers, from nuts and bolts to spuds. Just thinking back to times when many items were distinguished by their smell and high streets had variety before the chains took hold. Considering the sniff I had at youth and life and hope, nowadays I know it all seems distant and remote. Thank you very much.